Hi, this is Steve. Welcome back to Scale Model Kit Review. In this video, I'll be building Eaglemoss's Nissan GTR R35. I am on issue 10, stage 35. Let's get started. Welcome back. Let's look at the magazine for issue 10. And as I open this up, remember with this magazine you receive 4 issues. So we receive pack 35, 36, 37, and 38. So in this video I'll be featuring pack 35. We'll be assembling that. So I'm going to skip through the other instructions for 36, 37, and 38. Those will come later on in later videos. So we'll go ahead and just look through the magazine fully, and then we'll get started with the build. So if you haven't done so already, head over to Eaglemoss and subscribe to this build today. It shows as a pre-order on their website, but some of my viewers have told me they're actually receiving the parts. So don't let that scare you away. Go ahead and order it today. So we start off with the GTR story. And the GTR story, there's always some great articles here. An end to the speculation. The Spec V is finally announced. Okay, it's a great article here. And it continues here with the world pays attention. The Spec V trials at Nürburgring. And this is the most technical magazine out of all the builds that I have. So it's there's some very informative articles here about the technology of this car. So enjoy the ride, the Spartan grade Spec V. So very nice article here, and we get 4 pages of that, and it talks a lot about here about the weight reduction is by 132 pounds, and they get into the carbon ceramic brakes, the tires and wheels, the high gear boost. And by the way, I came out with a separate video on how to install the tires on those wheels, and it's relatively simple. There's different ways of doing it. I've had some of my viewers tell me how they do theirs. So, but if you want, head over to my video where you can see how I was able to get that tire on the rim very easily without hurting my hands. Moving through here, the mechanics factory here, right here, is the dual clutch transmission. The technology into that. Look at that. I mean, there's a lot of information here, some charting here, internal workings of the clutch control, and then just an overview of the transmission itself. So very cool here, a lot to read. You'd be very happy with this magazine. Moving on, then they get into the racing legend, specification car, Tokachi 24-hour challenge. Very good there. And then completed the first 24-hour race. And this is where we go ahead and get into stage 35, is it? Yep. So all the parts here that are involved with stage 35. Got a few steps going on here, 3 steps here on the right, and a 4th step on the back side there. We move on, and that is it. Give us a preview of what we're going to receive with issue 11. So with that, let me get the parts out and I'll be right back. Here's the parts for stage 35, and I'll go ahead and take these out of the bag and I'll be right back. Here's a close-up of the parts. We received some tweezers, MP screws, some hold-down brackets, and the cabling that runs underneath the chassis. So with the tweezers, these are pretty nice actually. Pretty heavy duty. they're going to help us with the cabling as we run them through some of the channels and the hold down brackets underneath the chassis. So let's get started. Here's our chassis cabling, and it's simply going to run into a slot on the right hand side of the chassis, and it's just going to slot down into the end here. And then we have a bunch of brackets we're going to install. We have 3 brackets. We have one here, slide this over a little bit, and one right here. And then the cabling is going to run through some already installed brackets that are on the bottom of the chassis here. Now we're going to be using those MP screws. Here's one right here. But guess what we have to do? We have to turn the chassis over to do that. So I'm going to install the end piece first. And it's, of course, these brackets are, everything's plastic here underneath the chassis, just to make sure it's in place. I'm going to turn this over. Very heavy piece. Okay. And if you can see, it looks like we go in right there with, okay, we go in right there with that. Take our MP screw. And we tighten that down. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it back over. We got to put our brackets in. And here's one of the brackets right here. Okay, you can kind of see what's going on here with the bracket. There's actually a guide pin also. Maybe you can see better. There's the guide pin, real long pin, and then the mounting hole. So we got to make sure we have this is the tricky part. We have 2 in between. Make sure you get a screw ready. Got a screw ready on the screwdriver. We'll turn this over. And, oops. Looks like a paint is covering the hole there. We clear that out. A little bit of extra paint. And we'll put the screw in. There we go. That is in. We'll turn this back over again. And we'll put the second one in. Very nice how that separates everything. Once again, we have a guide pin. And that hole does not need to be cleaned up. There we go. And one more to do. Once again, we stretch these out across here. Try to hold them in place. There we go. Wow. Okay. We have a screw loaded up. Let's flip it over. And there it is. Flip it back over again one more time. Okay. I actually got one crossed. I'm going to pull it out and we can switch them out. There we go. And there we go. Okay. So that's easy to do. If you cross them, you can just take your tweezers and you can switch them out. It looks good. With our tweezers, we can guide this into the first channel. And the next one. Goes in there. The first one on the right goes through the first channel. There's 3 channels here. One. Next one goes through that. Perfect. And the last one. And there you have it. That completes stage 35, where we installed all the cabling for the chassis. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, please subscribe and hit the bell. Head over to Eaglemoss and subscribe to this today. Happy modeling everybody, and take care.